What is up? Welcome back to Apocaflix Movies. This is our top 5 geek movies of 2019 videos. We usually do top 10 lists, but there's not that many movies that qualify as geek, especially this year. I feel like there's been more in the past. So we've only have 9 this year. So, and plus, if we do the top 10, movies that we don't even like are going to end up on that list. So it makes much more sense to do top 5s for our geek movies of the year. Again, I'm your host, Jacob Bartley. This is Brian Alessino, Mr. Jake Berlin over there, and we got Gio Ramos in the house. This is probably not going to get controversial at all, discussing geek movies.
There's no major DC movie to really rank that's controversial, so.
Yeah, and there was 2 this year, but they were both good.
Yep.
So that's good, right? Yeah, so basically we put together a consensus list, and we all submit our rankings, and then Jake puts it together, and it's a point system. So basically our number 1 movie is going to get 5 points, number 2 gets 4 points, so on and so forth, and it kind of combines together to create a consensus list. And so Jake, are we going to run to number 5, and then we'll go to the honorable mentions afterwards?
Yes, yeah. We'll do the top 5 first. And so starting at number 5, coming in with 31 points, and the highest it was...
Keith was in on this also, too.
That's correct. I think the highest was on Brian's Spider-Man Far From Home.
5?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
God.
Thoughts, gentlemen?
So it wasn't even in my top 5.
It's the best Spider-Man movie.
Really?
No.
Oh my goodness.
No.
For me, that's Homecoming.
Spider-Man 2.
Yeah. All right. So look,
Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
I like this movie a lot, but I when I first saw it, I liked it a lot, and then just through time thinking about it, I don't love it. I like it a lot. I just don't love it, and Spider-Man's my favorite comic book superhero ever, and the thing for me is, and hopefully you've seen the movie. I'm not going to really spoil anything, and I love Jake Gyllenhaal. His performance is amazing. One of my favorite actors. But I don't necessarily love how the Mysterio character was handled. There's certain scenes in the movie that I didn't like with that. And just overall being able to sit with this movie, I wish they would have kind of went a different route with the character.
What, did you want him to have powers?
Not necessarily.
Because if you know the comics, that's exactly how it is. He's a con man.
No, I know that. But I'm just saying, I just don't... I don't like the way... Well, okay, the scene where he reveals what he's doing,
for that one.
I hate that scene. I hate it.
Oh, man, it's not the best,
and
but...
I also very much dislike the Ned and what's her name? How they're a couple.
Betty.
That whole thing was so stupid. And I know they're trying to go for the John Hughes 80s thing, but that all worked in Homecoming, and he just went too far in this movie. And don't get me wrong, love it. Tom Holland's great. I love him and Happy together. A lot of great things in this movie, but I'm just explaining why it didn't make my top 5, basically.
I do love the movie. I really enjoy the movie. There's parts of it that I think that are some of the best Spider-Man moments that have ever been put on screen. But I will admit that I have gone down on my claim of it being the best Spider-Man movie ever made. It's not the best one. It's up there. But I think that I died down a little bit after seeing it once or twice. I think I saw it twice in theaters, and so I was kind of on a high. But it's really good. It's not my favorite. I think it ranked it at I want to say it ranked it at either 4 or 5 for me of the geek movies. So
I mean, it wasn't my number 1. I think it was number 3.
It was number 3, yeah.
I just can't get over that Mysterio scene. The sequence.
Oh, that stuff is incredible.
The nightmares.
The nightmare scene is...
Those might be the best scenes in any Spider-Man movie, to be honest. But
that could be hands alone some other Marvel movies in general. Just that, it's
crafted very well.
It's
crafted very well.
Yeah, I loved that movie. I didn't think I would love it as much as I did. But yeah, 5. I'm actually gonna. It's where it is.
All right, trust me, I wanted to put it higher because I'm a Spider-Man guy, and it just shows even my Spider-Man bias couldn't help that. So.
All right, well, moving on to number 4. This was the highest at number 3 with 34 points, so beat Spider-Man by 3. Captain Marvel coming in at number 4.
What? Captain Marvel beat Spider-Man? Are you kidding? No. This list is sham.
It is not a sham. It's a consensus.
Just because it doesn't match up with your opinion. It's
Keith had Captain Marvel pretty high. Jacob, you had it at
number 5.
Number 5, you are correct. I think I had it at 5 as well.
I don't even think I had it in the 5. Did I?
You had it at 4.
Oh.
Yeah. You're smashing on your 4th ranked geek movie of the year.
I do love this movie.
Yeah. I like it more every time I watch it.
Yeah, me too.
I do.
So I will say that. I do.
Yeah. When we were in the hotel room, we were watching that.
The final scene.
Yeah, the final scene.
We watched that. And
that made me realize, I like this movie more than I thought. And Brie Larson is incredible as Captain Marvel.
Great Captain Marvel.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the 90s vibe. The music. It's because I grew up in the 90s. So my mom was listening to that music all the time. And it was just... I love the vibe of the movie, the tone of it, the feel. I love Sam Jackson and her together. One of my favorite scenes of the whole movie is when they're washing dishes at the end together. I love that.
And I thought you were going to say the cat scratch.
It's not
the worst part of the movie.
Yeah. But
Monica Rambeau.
She's great.
Or is it Maria? Maria's the mom, right?
But
Monica's the daughter.
There's a reason why it's not, it's number 5 and not number 1 or 2, because it's just, it didn't I don't think it's great. I think it's really good.
It was missing.
Not great.
For the lack of a better term, it was missing that punch, that really oomph to the movie.
Honestly, I think that had a lot to do with there really wasn't a huge villain. That was me for the most part.
It was more of her dealing with herself.
Yeah,
it was kind of like a character study on her. But then you had to deal. We find out that the Skrulls weren't the Skrulls that we know of being villains, right?
Oh my goodness, Ben Mendelsohn.
Yeah,
was amazing.
Yeah, he was great. But then the ultimate villain of the movie is the intelligence, the Supreme Intelligence, which you only see in about 2 scenes. Yeah, and Jude Law is kind of like an assistant, but again, after the first half of the movie, we don't see him very much.
Ronan and his army for 2 minutes, and they were barely even shown as a villain. So that I think might have been my biggest thing was she wasn't really going up against a villain as much as she was going up against herself.
See, that's why I appreciate it, though, because it's so different from the prototypical origin movie. That's why I appreciate it, because it's a little different than the first Avenger or Iron Man or Thor. It's not the prototypical origin movie, or like a Doctor Strange, even, right? She's had these powers for 8 years or something like that? She had been missing for so long.
Something like that.
And we see her, but then we see her realize all of this stuff's been going on. It's definitely just about her, and I kind of like that about it.
Yeah,
personally,
I am curious to see. I will say it piqued my interest more for Captain Marvel 2 whenever that comes, because she's going to have an established powers. She's going to have been unless they go back again, which I don't think they would do.
Well, that's the thing. They had to do an origin story with her. Yeah. They had to, because the general audience doesn't know who she is. Well, now they do.
And we're at this point where has she been? So
that was the big question for sure.
And so for me, now they don't have to do any of that. Yep. Now just tell a great story. Yeah. And we talked about this before. I want the next movie to be how Winter Soldier was for Captain America. I want the Captain Marvel 2 to be that for her character, and just be incredible.
Do you want them to take the Captain America route or the Wonder Woman route, where it's past or future?
Man, that is tough.
Because originally, no. So what I'm asking, originally, I wanted the sequel to take place in the current timeline after Endgame. But after seeing the movie, how the movie ended, how she went off with the Skrulls, I kind of want that story.
Yeah,
where she's patrolling the galaxy for the past 20 years or something.
Yeah,
that's interesting stuff.
I lean towards that, somewhere before.
But then you have to think also about the movie we just talked about, Far From Home, and that ending. Does she meet up with Fury and Sword and all that stuff?
Oh, true.
What happens there? So we don't know when it's going to take place. There's so many different possibilities as far as timeline goes.
Endgame, she doesn't stay on Earth.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, what if she hooks up with Fury, man?
In Endgame, she goes out into, that might have been a tag for.
That could have been for her. Honestly. That could have been a tag for her.
Yeah,
because Talos was involved in that. Talos, Marvel, and Nick Fury.
Her interact with real how Nick Fury is now. That would be really cool. Actually, I think it's going to be in the future,
with Sword. With Sword.
Yeah,
what if she's an agent of Sword?
Yeah, I want that with her and Sam Jack again, and that way he's back for the sequel, and they can interact still. That would be great. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would want
Like that
too.
Cool.
They could do like maybe like little mini flashbacks to that area, maybe tease us a little bit.
It's cool that they have a lot of options. It really is.
Yeah.
They have a lot of options to kind of go with her, which is
that
nice.
one needs to. People need to get over her not liking it, because that was just literally a foundation. Now they can literally go anywhere and show her.
Gio, what'd you think of Captain Marvel, man? It's ranked at number 4.
Yeah, I had it number 4, I think so. In my top 5. I enjoyed it. I did. I came out the movie theater and I was like, that was actually better than I thought. I mean, obviously there's a nostalgia of being a 90s kid and seeing 90s references. Brie Larson, we knew she would be great in the role. Oscar-winning talent.
All those people that give her hate just need to go away.
Yeah, I'm not sure why.
It's crazy.
30,000 signed petition.
It's ridiculous. It's so insane.
Yeah, so definitely entertaining. I loved the for me it was a twist. I thought the Skrulls would be the bad guy. A spoiler, right?
Yeah.
We kind of talked about it. Yeah.
Okay, I want to make sure. But yeah. Ben Mendelsohn as General Talos is amazing. For me, a few things, most notably the villain, wasn't really a villain.
That's what Brian said. That's exactly what Brian said.
Wasn't really a villain. Jude Law, he was great with what he was given, but maybe they clearly left the door open for his character to return.
Well, Jake, you hated when he goes like, "I'm so proud of you," or when they're about to fight and he's like, "Oh, I'm so proud of you."
Yeah, I guess I dislike the almost like the jokey nature of him in sometimes.
I'm glad we're getting to see Gemma Chan.
Yeah, but I wish it was that role, Minerva. She was kind of awesome.
Yeah, she was dope.
She was kind of a badass.
Well, we never know.
All right, let's move on to number 3, and this comes in with 38 points. And it was number 2 for both Brian and I. Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. I think this is the first year since we've been doing this that the Star Wars movie isn't number 1. If I'm not mistaken.
Number 2.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I had it 3 on my list. Yeah.
Gio, you had it at number 3 as well. So I mean, look, hey, I contemplated putting it with our number 1, but or my number 1. But at the end of the day, I just knew the number 1 was far better than the rest of them. I love this movie. I really do. I love this movie. I think that I've said it. It's just a Star Wars movie to me. It has everything that I was, I wanted from the movie. It answered all the questions. I guess it definitely left some questions, but and there were definitely some things I didn't like about it. But I think that for me, it satisfied me for an ending. And I know that we've talked about it over and over and over again, so we don't have to do it too much. But I think that in this list, it fits where it needs to be. Would I have liked to see it in like 2 spots? Sure, but I think that it's I enjoyed it for what it was.
Yeah, I saw it again the other day, and I appreciate it more every time I see it. I really, really do. And I do love this movie. I do, but it's just not. There's usually like Force Awakens was my number 1 movie of that year. Like it's
not clear cut.
The Star Wars, like this didn't even make my top 10 overall. Yeah. So, and that's saying something for a Star Wars movie. But I do appreciate this movie, and I think part of it is like I need to let go of all the expectations, all of the drama, all of like. Forget about The Last Jedi and just watch this movie for what it is. And it's a very like fun and very good Star Wars experience in the movie theaters. And I took my brother to see it, who he loves Star Wars, and he said this is his favorite one of the new movies.
That's
and
good,
that's
man.
what I'm saying.
That's
like,
awesome.
It's not, we are so like caught up in our expectations and like mad at The Last Jedi and all those things. Like if you let those things go and just watch this for what it is, it's a good Star Wars movie, but it's just disappointing like for us because we have such high expectations, and that's not fair, but number 3 is a good spot for it.
Yeah, I agree. Number 3 is a good spot. I mean, for me, this whole trilogy came down to the fact that it wasn't planned out before.
Yep.
That was clearly the biggest mistake they made.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like if you just watch this and you don't even think about that.
Yeah. I mean, clearly that was the biggest mistake they made, was not having the whole thing planned out from the beginning. Not even the fact that you have 3 different directors. Like, I mean, if you would have planned the story and said tell it with this, probably wouldn't be a mess that it was right now. And it's not even a whole mess, but I mean, and I think that's why people like The Force Awakens so much, because it was the starting point. You started from that, but these sequels without a clear direction is what made it suffer, and hopefully they've learned from that going forward, and we'll go from there. But I mean, 3 is not anything to be upset about.
Yeah, and I'll say this again: Daisy Ridley kills it in this movie. It's her best performance ever, and it showed me like I always thought she was a good actress. From after watching Rise of Skywalker, she's a great actress. So it did that for me, at least.
Yeah, Daisy really gives the best performance out of all 3 Star Wars movies. Same with Adam Driver. I think this is his second best performance out of the 3 sequel films. I really wanted there to be more for like other characters as well. You know, we definitely got to see more for Poe Dameron. Finn, again, kind of just didn't really get much.
I liked Finn the best though, out of all of his movies in this one.
Yeah, I mean, just forget the whole Rey Finn thing. I'm just talking about like, you know, rewatching The Force Awakens and, you know, so much mystery behind him, seeing him take a very backseat in The Last Jedi, and in this movie it just dealt with a lot more and had to tie up pretty much everything because it decided to be the end of the Skywalker saga. And like you said, Brian, just, you know, better planning, more, it could have been better fleshed out, but given what JJ had to do and the time frame he had to do it, it
was a tough task.
It came out better than, you know, other things that had, you know, rush productions. So
cool. All right, well, moving on to number 2. This is with 41 points, and it was number 2 on Jacob, Keith, and Gio. 3 for me, and I want to say 5 for Brian. Joker.
Yeah. I'm just glad it's in the top 10. You know, I don't think it's the best movie of the year, and you know, but I love this movie very, very much. And the funny thing is, I've only seen it once.
Me too. I just bought it on Blu-ray this last week.
Oh, is it? Oh, it is out on
yeah,
Blu-ray.
I bought it last week. When I bought that mic, I bought it too. I was like, yeah, I gotta get this.
It's such a very different comic book movie, and it's so cool. And you know, there's never been a true like official origin of the Joker. There's always been a lot of different iterations of it. So I think that this was a cool version of it for the movies, you know, because this is for now. A lot of people, this is the origin of the Joker for them. For a lot of people,
this new generation, for sure,
exactly. So
well,
that's,
depending on what age you are, because
yeah, exactly. So we might get a sequel. Who knows? I think that all depends on Joaquin Phoenix.
I hope they pull the Watchmen and they don't do a sequel.
I
don't want a sequel.
It depends. Like, it's hard because what story do you tell?
It's such a good single story. That's why I keep going back to. It's like
good,
a
one shot,
beginning to end. Yeah. It's just so nice and clean, especially from start to finish.
No, I agree. I wouldn't be mad if they made a sequel because I want to see this character again.
Well, you could take it anywhere. You could,
but it doesn't make sense to make sequel story wise. It doesn't.
The end, yeah.
$1 billion, Oscar nominations.
Totally. The ending to me, the ending was just like, okay, you saw this story, and that ending is telling you. Now he's going to be the Joker. Like, we know what happens afterwards. We know of everything that kind of goes down. So we don't really need a sequel. But I think 2 is a good spot, especially for this year for what come out and what's above it. But I think 2 is a good spot.
Arguably the phenomenon of 2019. $1 billion, R-rated, 11 Oscar nominations. Seriously, I mean, this movie.
What, a budget under $100 million?
Yeah, $13 million or $30 million?
No, right? 13. It was like 50 to 70 or something.
Was it still?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Look at that percentage of profitability. Oh my! Wow.
I mean, it goes to say
$62.5 million budget.
$13 million budget.
It makes it the most profitable superhero movie of all time.
Well, and it goes to say, I mean, even its own studio didn't believe in it. They split the profit with another studio because they didn't want to take a full loss.
$25 million of Joker budget was covered by a Toronto-based financing company.
So, I mean, like...
Wow.
And like how much they made back.
Exactly. And they didn't even... I mean, it shows you that the own company didn't...
That means they got some of the profit, too.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Good for them.
So, I mean, the own company didn't fully 100% back this. So, I mean, for it to go on and do what it did is... a feat unmatched right now. So I mean, you could say like, well, Endgame made this much money, yeah, but it also had a budget of almost $300 million. Everyone was waiting for it. Everyone it goes on, but this one kind of.
Yeah, I hope a lot of studios or filmmakers take note from it. You know, the fact that you can make a movie that's this popular about a character like this that's this popular and make that much money off of something so small. Because a lot of my movies for this year, my favorites were under $100 million budget. 50, 60, $70 million. Like, you don't need, like, sure, for Endgame or something like that, like Star Wars, you need the money.
Yeah.
But you can capitalize on something like this by making something for $60 million and make $400 million at the box office, and you're sitting on gold for the rest of your life.
And it wasn't even a good guy.
And it'd be great.
It was a bad guys movie. It was...
Like, we theorized, I said, when that rumors were going around about Todd Phillips, like, his contract involved how he can do other properties like this about other characters. Give me something like Reverse Flash with this, dude. This would be badass. Insane. Or like a Doctor Doom, like a movie like this.
I hope Todd Phillips and Joaquin Phoenix got points. You know how that works? So that if they get part of the profit, kind of like Robert Downey Jr. does with the Avengers films, because they deserve it. Because this, if it wasn't for them two, like this, it wouldn't be how big the success
so I don't know if you guys saw the story came out this week because of all the Oscar stuff. So Bradley Cooper was a big producer.
I didn't even know that because I was looking at
he and Todd Phillips have a production company together.
So Bradley Cooper's one of the producers. So if this wins Best Picture, Todd Phillips, Bradley Cooper, and there's a woman on there too win the Oscar.
But the big story was that apparently Bradley Cooper and Joaquin Phoenix were in the editing bay the entire time helping with the editing.
Really?
Yeah. So they're like massively involved in the production of the film. I didn't know
Bradley Cooper was so involved. That's really cool.
I think he and Todd Phillips have it together. The company. I think it's
that makes
together.
Sense. I mean, they probably
because the Hangover movies. Yeah.
I'm not surprised Joaquin Phoenix was in the editing bay of this movie.
But yeah, it seemed like it was kind of like the role, like it meant a lot to him.
If he was going to do this movie, he was going to do this movie.
Yeah.
Cool. Completely.
All right, well, number one, no surprise here, guys.
What could it be?
Look, clean sweep. It was number one across the board. So with a perfect 50 points, we have Avengers Endgame. I mean, we've talked about it on every show that we've done so far.
50? Okay.
10 points across the board for each of us. So
the geek movie, the comic book movie. I mean, I
love hearing that from you, Gio.
It's incredible, and it's not the best film of 2019, but it's hands down the best comic book film. Comic book characters, comic book storylines, comic book moments straight from the comic. Thanos coming back, in more ways than one in the movie, obviously. Tying up, explaining the story, explaining the timeline, seeing characters you thought you'd never see before again on the big screen. Comic book moments, the female-centric characters having their moment on screen. It didn't feel forced. You saw the women of the MCU shine. The send-off for Robert Downey Jr. All 10 years, every major cast member, every character right there giving their thanks to the man who is largely responsible for giving them their franchises and their careers. It's just amazing. It's Return of the King of comic book movies.
That was poetic.
From the DC guy, too.
No, I think the one thing that we haven't talked about when talking about this movie is, and something that's overlooked a lot, and it's very hard to do in film, is how they told the time travel. Like, that's extremely difficult to do just in movies and... Just in movies in general, that's hard to do. But to do it in a comic movie when you're going back to timelines and stories that we've already seen, and you capitalize on these different perspectives, I mean, that alone is something that deserves an award.
It's different. It's fresh because it's not like usually you go back in time and then it changes everything. It's like no, just because you go back in time doesn't mean it changes this.
I love that
reality. It changes that
the
one.
Greatest explanation of time travel ever.
And the fact that they grabbed other movies to explain it,
and they acknowledge too, you've seen these movies. It's not this.
And
to me, like when the Hulk explains that, I'm like, that makes so much sense. Why would it affect the current timeline that you're in? It wouldn't. The way he says your past becomes your future and all those things, it makes so much sense.
It's like those movies that like if you affect the past, you disappear in the future. Like that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But that's the problem. That's what happens in Back to the Future. So I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah, I mean, no, but it's not even Back to the Future. It's like that's how time travel has been portrayed Like always.
Wait, didn't I say that in the movie? So Back to the Future's a lie?
Yeah.
Paul Rudd says that, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
man.
He says Die Hard.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why I love this movie. I mean, we've talked about it so many times, but I love Ant-Man is finally in the spotlight. And if it wasn't for Ant-Man, they wouldn't have been able to do this.
No.
It wasn't for a rat.
But you know what I mean.
Guys,
But
come on.
The thing is, like, it's crazy because, like, I love that Ant-Man character, and, like, you would think how, like, Scott Lang, if they would have told you a long time ago, Scott Lang is going to play such an important part in this in the finale of the MCU, you'd have been like, no way, and they totally did.
Well, he wasn't just he was partnered with Cap and Tony and Hulk.
Yeah,
he was put with them three, not like on some side mission with like Hawkeye or Rhodey or something.
We were talking about comedic actors, and Paul Rudd deserves some credit because he plays those scenes so well. When he's looking for his daughter's name on those stones, and he sees his own name, that scene is incredible. And then when he's telling Tony that, like, we need to do this, and then when they're back at Tony's house, the time heist thing, I still think that should have been the name of the movie.
Tell me you're not basing your whole plan off of Back to the Future. Because you had me worried there.
So, just so many great things in this movie.
He arguably got his third movie because of how well he...
Yeah, I'm so happy they're making Ant-Man 3. Incredible.
Cool. All right. Well, I'll read through the top 5 real quick before we get to our honorable mentions. So number 5 is Spider-Man: Far From Home. 4 is Captain Marvel. 3 is Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. 2, Joker. 1, Avengers: Endgame. It beat Joker by 9 points. But again, it had perfect 50. And so our honorable mentions in order. So at number 9 was Hellboy.
I didn't see it.
I don't think any of us did. It was last on all of our lists.
On HBO.
I saw the trailer. The trailer looked cool, but
number 8. So that had 10 points. Number 8 with 15 points was Dark Phoenix. Again, this was in 8th place on all of our lists. 7 was Detective Pikachu with 21 points. It was 6th on all of our lists except for Keith. Keith had it at 5. And so it bumped up a little bit. And then number 6 with 30 points is Shazam. And I'm sure we can talk about that one a little bit because it's right out of the top 5.
I had Shazam at my number 4 spot.
He had it at 5.
I love Shazam. I think it's freaking awesome. I can't wait to see Zachary Levi back, hopefully. I mean...
Yeah, they haven't announced anything yet.
It didn't make a lot of money, but his character's so great.
I don't think it was on a big budget, though.
It wasn't.
Let me look it up.
It was profitable, but
it didn't make a huge profit. But
he'll be back.
It was only $100 million.
If you would have told me, hey, Shazam and Captain Marvel are coming out in the same year, and you're gonna like Shazam better, I would have been like, hell no, you're crazy. That's how it is.
So on $100 million budget, that's not including marketing. It made $364.6 million.
Profitable, yeah.
It's fine.
It made at least $100 million after the marketing because they put a lot into that marketing.
It's fine because they don't care, because as long as it was good enough to where they can drop
Dwayne
Johnson,
you just can't lose money because the theaters get a third of that. So you it barely made.
But I'm saying, like, if you made this good, we're gonna greenlight Black Adam, and then Black Adam is going to make a buttload just off of The Rock alone. You now put them together, you're fine.
There it is, right there.
You're fine.
You just needed this movie to work.
Yeah,
and this movie did work.
Maybe the sequel will feature Henry Cavill.
Hey, what? Wait a minute, he wasn't in the first movie. That wasn't.
No, that was a stunt double in the suit.
If it was him,
we would have seen his face. Yeah.
Can we talk about a few more honorable mentions real quick?
Yeah. What do you got?
X-Men Dark Phoenix. I mean, it was entertaining. It wasn't.
I agree with you.
It was entertaining.
I was entertained by it too.
To see them all fighting together.
Because I like the actors
in the
that
train.
are playing those characters. That was my biggest thing. I love her as what?
Pass.
You didn't like her as...
I like her, but the movie's terrible.
To see Michael Fassbender with his own brotherhood,
I don't think it's terrible,
you know,
that train scene is awesome. Like, there's
Nightcrawler going
things
ham.
in that train scene where it's awesome, but when Nightcrawler, that Nightcrawler scene was awesome.
Magneto too. He's doing some things that we haven't seen in other movies.
You know what I was thinking that we just left off the whole entire list in general that we shouldn't have? Alita.
I guess we could have counted it.
That's based off graphic novel, right?
That would have made it 10 movies.
I'm telling you this: if Alita, if we would have remembered to put on it, probably would have been number 6 on mine.
The fact
it
that
wouldn't have made my 5, but it would have been, honestly, it probably would have been number 6.
Yeah.
Because I really like that movie a lot. I think the ending is bogus, but the movie, like, other than the ending, the movie's really awesome and a technical achievement for damn sure. Yeah.
Cool. All right, well, let me run through the 9 real quick. So we have Hellboy at 9, Dark Phoenix at 8, Detective Pikachu at 7, Shazam at 6, Spider-Man Far From Home at 5, Captain Marvel at 4, Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker at 3, Joker at 2, and Avengers Endgame at number 1 with 50 points.
Yep. All right, so that's going to do it for our top 5 geek movies of 2019. Let us know in the comment section what your list is and what you think of all of our lists. We really, really do appreciate it. And again, check us out on all of our podcast formats. We would really appreciate that. We'll see y'all next time. Hey everyone, Jacob Bartley here. Thanks for watching. If you want to check out something similar from Apocaflix movies, click this video up here. If you want something a little bit different, check out this video down here. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to Apocaflix movies and let us know your thoughts in the comments section. We always love to hear from you. Thanks for watching.